Namaskar. Warm welcome to you all to Pandit Shankar Ghosh ji memorial event, which is being hosted by Indian Classical Music Circle, and it is being live streamed from ICMC Facebook page. We are immensely grateful and honored to have three of Pandit ji's prominent disciples. Let me welcome Kousik da, Kousik Dutta ji. Kousik da, welcome. Surojato Roy, Surojato bhai.
Namaskar, Anda.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And Gurdain Rayatt bhai, Gurdain bhai.
Namaskar.
We are really delighted to have you here today.
Thank you for inviting.
A pleasure. Kousik da has joined from Delhi. Surojato has joined from Kolkata, and Gurdain bhai is from London, and me, the host from ICMC. I am from Hyderabad. So let's start this event with some music of Pandit ji. I think that can be the best way to start, and then we will go into further conversation so that we all can listen to the memories and your experiences, learning experiences from Pandit ji. Wow. Ah, I think it is very difficult to stop in the middle, but we have to start the conversation as well. And we will take a little breaks in between, and we'll come back to that concert. And let me tell you, this entire concert was shared by our very dear Surojato bhai. Uh, he was having this original video, and he shared this with me for this tribute program.
That's wonderful.
So, isn't it? Yeah. Kousik, if I
Yeah.
can, ask you a question, if you could share your initial memories with Panditji when you probably even before you started learning from him, uh, how you have seen him for the first time, if you have those memories, and tentative year when all these things started.
Yeah. First of all, my pranam to Guruji. Only with his blessings, I am here where I am today. So, going back in the year 1982 or 83, at that time I was learning under Pandit Sunil Banerjee. And then, although we knew that Shunilda is a senior most student of Pandit Shankar Ghosh, and that time I was also studying in class 10th only. So, quite
Actually,
young.
Kousik, actually last year he came and he we had the memorial event with with him
Yeah.
and Guruma. Yeah.
This morning also I talked to Shunilda. So anyway, so one day Shunilda said that there is a program in Chakda, and where Pandit Shankar Ghosh is going to start a new kind as a concert. Is a 3 hours tabla laura. And before that, no one ever heard that a tabla solo concert can be played by one person for 3 hours at a stretch. So, incidentally, I had a camera that time. So Shunilda told that, okay, bring your camera so that you can take some photographs of that. So I just went, forget about the camera thing and everything. And that was the first time I saw Pandit Shankar Ghosh from front. I saw the god of tabla that time, just in front of that. Same charismatic, same. I mean, that was so. That is the first time I saw Pandit Shankar Ghosh, and I heard tabla at a stage for 3 long hours. And not only that, after that, there was a provision of lunch with all the students of everyone. All Pandit Shankar Ghosh's disciples, students also went there. So there was a combined lunch, and Guruji, Pandit Shankar Ghosh, sat with us on the floor to eat with everything. And there was only khichdi, khichdi. We all ate with Pandit Shankar Ghosh and Guruma, Bumba, and all. We had it. And that was my first time I saw Pandit Shankar Ghosh from very close. Even before I started learning from him.
Right. So Tentatively, which year it can be? Maybe mid 60s or late.
It was no. It was in the year around 1982, 83, something like that.
Right. Okay. And then how your journey started along with him, under him, his guidance.
And but after that, I was still learning under Shunilda. So finally, at that time, I already owned the Doberlin music competition, and I won the West Bengal State Music competition or State Music Academy competition. So then my parents also somehow wanted that I should learn from Guruji, this Pandit Shankar Ghosh. So one day I talked to Sunilda also. Hey, Sunilda, I want to learn from Guruji also. Sunilda said, okay, I will write a letter. Just go to his house and show the letter first without saying anything.
Right.
So, and just before that, I got the first prize in West Bengal State Music Academy competition. So I was very excited. I was very scared because that is the first time I will talk to him face to face. So I went to 11
COVID Road. Right? Yeah.
11 COVID Road. I rang the bell and Guruji opened the door.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my means. And so I gave him at first, Guruji, Shunilda has given you one letter. So Guruji wrote the letter. So, and Sunilda wrote that I stood first in the West Bengal. Are, you have got first prize in the West Bengal State Music Academy. So you know everything. What should I teach you? That was his first word towards me. And the second sentence was, okay, come from that date with an exercise book. You have to come 3 times a week. No more talks. How are you? Where are you? Where from you are? Nothing. So that was Guruji. Means he made the thing so easy at first. Then instantly he came to the main point. Okay, start learning. And he mentioned that that time we used to learn wherever. Everyone used to learn once a week. And Guruji said that we have to come at least 3 times a week. So that was and then later we asked that Guruji, everyone teaches once a week. So how you teach 3 times and sometimes 4 times a week? He used to tell, okay, come day after tomorrow, come just next day. So Guruji told it in Bengali, যে যখন তেল পরি যখন ফেলছো তেলও তো মেখে যাও. Means when you were paying good, so take it back as much you can. So that was his approach towards teaching. He used to give all the time the best he could for his students.
Really amazing. And so straightforward way to put things, you know. Yeah. So Kaushikda, we will come back to you to know even more points. If I can request Surojato. Surojato, if you could share your initial experience with Panditji, how, what was your first experience of listening to him, even if it is audio, or first impression after listening to him, and if you remember the recordings, and then how you got introduced to Panditji and you started learning, if you could share.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much, Ramda and ICMC, for inviting me on this particular day. And
Surojato, I think sorry to interrupt. I think we have to mention Emily Ghosh, the Kathak exponent, who is integral part of ICMC along with me.
Exactly.
We are missing her today. Yeah, we are missing her today because she is not well, so she has not been able to join. Otherwise, we are yeah. And this initiative, she is one of the main part of it. So yeah, we have to mention that.
Yeah, sure. I was just going to mention that. So yeah, thank you all. Thank you, Ramda. Thank you, Emily, and thanks to ICMC for hosting this this wonderful event, because this is a very special day for all of us. So because I always believe is that Guruji is still here. It is not that that we have lost him in 2016. So my pranams to him, Guruma, Vikramda Jayadi, all our elder disciples, all elder Guru Dadas, and a big wish to all my Guru Bhais, because this is, like I said, this is a very special day for all of us, globally, all students of Guruji. Because
Even for me also, even I have not been able to learn from him directly, even from all of his fans and devotees across the globe. Yeah.
Right, that's right. Yeah. So, like you said, how to remember him? It's difficult because because it's like telling you about the Himalayas or a vast ocean. I mean, there's no point to start and no point to finish where to start. And what I remember is I started tabla very early when I was 4. I started from Pandit Tanmay Bosji, and then he was touring extensively at the time with Pandit Ravi Shankar ji. So so I remember one evening suddenly my mom came and she told me that tomorrow we are going somewhere. So actually, what was that is Tanmay Guruji. So he told mom, he told mom that Surojato, I saw talents in him, and because I'm touring so much, so it's better you take him to the actual person, actual guru. So so that's how things started. So I went in the classroom. It was really difficult for me because I was so small. I really couldn't understand at that particular time that the gravity of the situation. Uh,
How
and
old were you that time, Surojato?
I was 8 years. I was 8 years. Yeah. So and I it was like I didn't understand that that this man is Pandit Shankar Ghoshji, and like Kousik told, he was always so friendly with initially with all of us. So you really will never understand in the first meeting that he's like this, like a figure of mountain, and it was really difficult for me to understand the gravity at the time. So I went. He asked me, "What did you learn?" I play something. So I played for 3-4 minutes, and he was like, "Wow, kya baat?" And same statement like, "You know everything. What should I teach you?" And and Guruji's ready wit. His wit is like. It is a treasure for the whole Indian classical music, our community. Like all of us, we know it. So that is how it started, and then I was fortunate to be under his lotus feet for 20 years, and and the memories I initially, I mean. The first thing I will tell you about what I feel is this personally for me, there is no exact birthday for Guruji, because every time, every day I listen to him, I rediscover him. Same recordings or same videos, his talims, when I think of it, every time I get a new dimension and new element in it, that wow, this I didn't notice. And like the video you shared, I mean, we all saw it right now. I think this video actually, it was given to me. I think Gurdain or Prabhuda. I don't remember exactly. Yeah. So it was given by Gurdain Bhai. And right now, when I was seeing it, and I just saw how he manifested the bol parant, which is which was his actually one of the main focus. He always told that if you want to bring life to your playing, uh, the first and foremost thing you should give focus on is bol parant, and to uh, to 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 recite the bowls like a story, and that each and every bowl has life, and you should be able to express it to the audience. And just now you saw how he is totally inside that. He became that bowl when he was reciting. He became that bowl. So uh, this so this I just now right now I saw it again, and I realized how intense was it for him to this aspect of bol paran. So these,
The tonal modulation and sound dynamics, the way he was
of
saying,
course,
and
yes,
the volume variation,
yes,
it became
yes,
the one with the content. Yeah.
exactly. And we should remember also another thing, that we are discussing in 2021, and imagine him doing this in 1960s, 1970s. So it is still modern. It is still modern in 21. So you can see, like we use the word cool, or while we try to be cool while playing, or while doing music, but we all can see how cool he was actually, and what uh, what what presence he had in music. So
Yeah.
imagine this in 1960, 1970s, when the tabla players were at many times were not recognized even, actually, like even as accompanists. So often uh, we see that there are like legendary audios, but there's everything mentioned except the name of the tabla player. So at that particular time, being so majestic, and staying so majestic is extremely. I mean, I don't know how to express it.
Unparalleled.
Yeah.
Unparalleled.
There was
Exactly.
no doubt he was much ahead of the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, we will come to those points more and more in the later stage of the event, Surojato. And thanks for the input, and thanks for sharing the experiences so far. If I can come to Gurdain Bhai and ask the same question, if you could just give a little bit brief how you started being born and grown up in London. If you could just give a brief how your initial learning and how you got introduced to Panditji, and yeah.
Yeah, sure. I would love to. As Surojato said, there are so many fond memories across all of the time that I got to be in his presence, from so many facets of his personality, not just his dedication to teaching and his performance, whether it's in the artistic realm or philosophically, how he thought about life, or how he thought about being a performer, etc., being a student, and the advice that he would give, or the moments that you would experience while you were under his tutelage, under his learning. But I will start with the beginning. I know my story is very different to most other disciples. So obviously, I was born and brought up in England. I was very fortunate to be in a family that supported and recognized Hindustani classical music. I started learning from my father officially probably the age of 3, but I think I must have been tapping before that. My father, Harkirat Singh Ji, he had learnt from his father-in-law. He became a disciple of Bhai Gurmeet Singh Birdi Ji. I think in his teens when he moved to London, and then eventually he married into the family. So it's kind of Guru kind of became part of the whole family tree. So music became bigger. So at me as a youngster, I was sort of consumed by Hindustani classical music in that sense. And the lineage of Punjab and Benares was basically what was there from Ustad Bahadur Singh Ji and Pandit Samtar Prasad Ji's teachings. So as my father's son, obviously he pushed me to the greatest limits with a lot of love to practice, and I was always determined to kind of shine every time he would see me play and see me in class. And over the years, I would definitely say my father was and has always been the biggest cheerleader for development of this art form, and to help me succeed in learning and developing. And in that process, he also started up Chakardar, which was this organization to promote not only his students on a performing platform, but also promote artists, musicians coming from India, primarily tabla players. Chakradar was very much about excellence of tabla. So we did have many of the great maestros of tabla come to England for solos, workshops, etc. And at the start of the millennium, this is when, I think it was actually 1997, same year that Surojato started learning directly from Guruji, I met Bikramda for the first time. So this was, he looked a lot different in 97. I think he just released Talking Tabla, his solo CD. And I met him somewhere in the country at somebody's house. And I remember playing a little bit there, and Bikramda giving me some help and some tips and autographing his solo CD for me. And then 3 years later, my father brought him again for a tabla solo and workshop. And that tabla solo ended up becoming the Tabla Odyssey CD, which he then later re-released in India, which is another brilliant tabla solo, probably one of his greatest tabla solos I've heard, live solos in recorded format. And the process of being with Bikramda and him guiding me essentially on a more regular basis, because I had the opportunity of sort of attending workshops of different maestros on a very much like one-off basis. Maybe 1 year somebody would come, I would sit. But with Bikramda, it became a regular thing. So he would come every year 2000, 2001, 2002. Every year there would be a solo, and there would be 3 workshops: London, Leicester, and Essex. So I very much got caught up in this barge, this style, especially because of Bikramda's foray into rhythm and cross rhythm and Carnatic tendencies also, which was very intriguing for me at the time. So it was very interesting. And my father did ask Bikramda that let's do a bigger scale thing. We'll call it the summer school, where we can do something which is, say, 5 days residential. People stay in the same place, and we can have 3-4 different teachers, and we rotate classes around, and it's continuous. You eat there, you have lunch, you have dinner, you stay, you can talk to the teachers, you can do riyaz, that whole atmosphere.
It's just like the ancient Gurukul.
Like a Gurukul, but
Gurukul
something like that over here is quite a special thing. very rare. And I remember Bikram Das saying, I'll bring my father next year. He's really the teacher. He said that he's the one who should be doing this. So I didn't know at that stage. I think I was probably 15, 16. So I didn't have a full understanding of everything. I'd heard some cassette tapes, old cassette tapes of Guruji. But then that came that time in 2003 when Guruji came. And I still remember the way Bikram Da would get so excited to talk about his father in very much in a sort of can't wait for you to meet him. He's a character. He would always say he's a real character. And so there was this mystery from my side. There was this sort of excitement and mystery. And I remember he came. I was really nervous. I was super nervous. I was kind of hiding upstairs, knowing he was arriving from the airport and coming. So I was kind of hiding upstairs. And then I heard Bikram Da coming through the door. I could hear his voice. I saw the tabla case in the entrance. I was kind of hiding upstairs. Then I heard another voice, and that was Guruji. And he immediately, first thing he did was go to the bathroom. And I remember seeing him walk to the bathroom. And my mother, also a little nervous of his arrival, had been cleaning the entire house like mad. So she was in the bathroom at the time. So this was my first memory of, and it always happens to be that there is something warm and heartening about the first memory that we will share. So I think he went into the bathroom, and my mother was cleaning, and she turned around surprised. And then he said, "Hello, nice to meet you," in the bathroom in a very candid way. So that was the kind of first moment I saw him in the house. And there was a little talim. I was playing a qaida. I went downstairs and I was playing a qaida, and I noticed him come into the kitchen and sit. And my heart was pounding because I was frightened in some way. And I remember one small tip he gave me when I was playing. I was playing this and he was adjusting the way that I played the terekete so that I was focusing on a completely different element. Instead of terekete, he was asking me to play terekete, emphasizing the G1. And then he walked off. So then I almost spent the whole day on that. But then the actual talim, the first lesson I ever got, was not actually in the home. It was directly at the summer school itself. So alongside all the other students that had gone to the summer camp to experience the teachings, I was completely in that world. My first full lesson happened to be exactly in that space. And yeah, it was extremely nerve-wracking. My talim up until then was much less focused on recitation, on keeping clap and reciting and tal. And the first composition I learned, he gave me, was in Jap Tal, and it was in Tisrajati. And my mind completely went upside down. I was pretending to be very confident. I believe at the time I'd completely forgotten the Tali Kali of Jap Tal, completely went blank. And then also this is in Tishrajati. So he asked me to speak. So I'm speaking and my Tali Kali is all over the place. And then he decides to play and I have to keep time. And I remember after that, the looks he was giving as I was keeping time. And then afterwards he looked at me and he said, "You really need to practice. It's very bad, very bad." And I was like, really, really quite frightened. But there was always an air, I feel, that air of confidence and also air of a commanding presence. very charismatic person, but very commanding. He would hold you in his grip
Mm.
with the smallest of gestures. He didn't have to say much. You just sat there and you would feel everything.
Yeah.
You would just feel. He would just watch you. He would watch you directly, and we would also watch as disciples. We would be watching for all the small details, and
Wow.
those small details was so much of the talim was in there. So this is
Gurdan
kind
bhai,
of the
it is,
beginning of
yeah,
of my experience at the summer camp. Yeah.
the vivid details and each of the minute things you have shared, it is priceless. And I can see the way you were expressing, right? You were looking at the other side as if you were seeing like it is coming back just like a cinema.
Mm-hmm.
So
Just
that
like that.
expression,
Yeah.
that expression I can understand. Thanks, it is priceless. I think this charismatic presence Surojato was also saying after watching when we were watching that clip performance. Yeah. Uh, so as we have heard from his Syria disciples last time, he was a very hard taskmaster, but with a soft heart inside for everyone, with a compassion, love for students. But again, at the same time, very hard taskmaster, as Gurdain was also saying, and very honest and candid in his teaching approach and in the process of music, evolution of music. So, Kaushik, if you could share some experience, some incident, if you remember how, as Gurdain Bhai was also saying, always remaining alert during the sessions, learning sessions. So if you could just share some memories, if you remember anything instantly, maybe some experience with you or with some other students. Yeah.
Yeah, there are actually my life is full with experiences with Guruji, because every day, and as I told you that we used to come to Guruji's house for at least for 3 to 4 weeks. I'm sorry, 3 to 4 days a week, and for these long years. So there are a lot of experience, and every day it was new. At first, when I started learning from Guruji, then being a young chap who is learning under Pandit Shankar Ghosh for the first time, we used to sit at the back near the wall, and there were a lot of, then I must tell you at the first, then we used to be called Shankar Ghosh's factory. And so I can say that I am a small product of that factory. It was a colloquially said that Shankar Ghosh's factory, because uh, he produced students in hundreds, not one or two, not three, like that. Everyone used to play better than the other.
And across generations, Dada, across generations.
Yeah, generations. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Like I learned under Shunilda, he himself was such a good player. Shunilda, Bimalda, and many other. I'm sorry that I couldn't mention all these names, but he used to produce students practically. So in the class at first, we used to sit at the back. We didn't used to talk much. Whatever Guruji said, we didn't have any courage to talk actually. Then time passed. We came closer to Guruji. I mean, so we used to sit nearer to Guruji, because when we got senior, as per the period of learning, then Guruji used to tell us to count the fees that students. So that was the trust Guruji actually uh, showed on us, that we trust. So we counted the fees, and even Guruji never asked how much is the collection. We used to count and kept it in the exercise book. This is another thing. And the other thing is, beside our main class, there was a small room which we used to call OT, Operation Theater. Maybe you don't know this, and I think Surojato knows that. And whenever any student had some difficulties in understanding or playing, any of the seniors, Guruji said, okay, chalo, take him to OT. That was a special room where the seniors used to teach those juniors about the intricacies and what to do, how to say, how to play. Then after 5-10 minutes, we used to bring him back to the main room also. Then Guruji used to see how was it going on. If he is not satisfied, then again he would be sent to the OT.
No, Dada, who
Like that.
was scolded if the progress was not satisfactory? If the product was scolded, or the senior student who was teaching he was scolded, or both?
Both.
Both
It was
together.
But especially the scolding was actually who was performing the OT. So he got scolded more.
Yeah. So that was it. And when we were given the responsibility to teach someone in OT, we would feel proud that Guruji entrusted us to teach someone else. So that was for a young student, it was a big thing.
Dada,
think
this is a wonderful thing because we have seen, like, we can see certain instances where the guru himself wants to keep everything in control and does not want to, and see the way he is encouraging everyone at the
Yes.
same time with the process.
Yes.
Yeah.
And actually, maybe I had a knack of teaching from very earlier stages. So Guruji used to tell me, okay, this is because this is. And I used to tell many, I think Surojato or Gurdain also said, Guruji used to see like that. So I asked Guruji, why you are looking that? Guruji said that if you do like that, you can focus properly on the fingers. This is a new thing, right? So that's why he used to watch the fingers properly so that there is no problem, no difficulties to understand or to deliver. That is another thing. And one other thing, the time management. He was so particular. He was so punctual. When we used to go to Cheratar for the Tal classes, you know that house.
Is it Padmapukur?
Padmapukur.
Padmapukur, yeah. My
We had
Guruji
a Tal-
Kashinath Mukherjee's house was just beside it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So someone said, I think Sunilda or Porimal said that don't be late. That was my first class. And after a long time, Guruji started that class. So we were told, and the class I still remember, it was from 9 a.m. So Sunilda told whoever, Sunilda or Porimal anyway. So he said that please be there at least 15 minutes before because Guruji is never late. And as a young guys, we having tea and having this. Oh, hi. So we reached the venue at 10 minutes to 9. And we said Guruji is already there, sitting in another room, adjacent room. And sharp 9, Guruji is on the stage. Even many concerts, we saw that even the main artist hasn't come, but Guruji is there in time. And one very strictness of Guruji. One of my students who has an audition in All India Radio. So Guruji, he wanted to show or he wanted to learn something from Guruji for the final tips. So Guruji told him to come on Wednesday, say on Wednesday at 4 p.m. And that student also, he used to live in a far away from Guruji's place. He had to travel by train, then by bus, then to, so he was pretty much late. He reached around 5. And I was there not on that floor. I was on the just one floor below because I knew that there is something gonna happen. So but I can hear everything. So he rang the bell, and again Guruji opened the door. Yes, and with that tone, yes. And that student said that Guruji, you told me to come. Guruji, what time? He said at 4. And Guruji asked, now what time it is? He said, Guruji, it's around 5. Okay, come tomorrow at 5. Boom! He closed the door just in front of his face. So in the next time, he didn't dare to be late. It felt awesome maybe for the student, but it is a lesson.
Yeah.
Compassionate. He used to be very much compassionate towards his students. And yeah, there are a lot of experiences, lot of incidents. And once I accompanied Guruji, I will come to that point later.
Yeah, we will talk about memorable concerts and events sometime. So Surojato, as Kousik is saying, that time he used to conduct sessions for one student at least thrice or 4 times a week. Was it the same for in your time also? Because you have learned in Kolkata, that's why I'm asking you.
Yes, yes, yes. For us, Guruji's class was something very special. I will tell how it was. So, when we got the talim, he taught us exactly for 2 to 3 minutes. This was the timing, the total span of our lesson.
Learning. Yes.
So, yeah, he was always giving one-to-one lesson, and it was 2 to 3 minutes, mostly two different compositions. I mean, either one qaida, another rela, or two qaidas like this, two different compositions, and two paltas each. And after we played our task, so he will say that you can write the next two compositions. And if he said that today you can write next three compositions or next three paltas, that was like we have won the World Cup for that day. Okay. So this was his style of teaching. But I should mention also this very important point here, that he taught us for 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, but he told us repeatedly and almost made it mandatory that everyone should remain in the class for 2 hours. He generally taught for 2 hours, 5:30 to 7:30 in the evening, or 5 to 7. It changed according to his schedules and his health and everything. So I remember doing mostly from 5 to 7 or 5:30 to 7:30 in the evening.
Right.
And so initially when it was Kabir Road, he had three class days a week. And when later when he shifted to Shenhati, so he used to come twice to Kabir Road and had 3 or 4 class days at Shenhati. So this is another amazing the passion about teaching he had is unbelievable, because you can imagine an artist of his stature. He I mean, like on any national holidays or on pujas, on Christmas or anything, maybe we are hoping, well, like as a kid, I thought that okay, today is a holiday. I mean, the class will not be happening today. Today is Christmas, so I called with lots of hope that today class is not happening, so I can enjoy that that particular day.
Yeah.
But no, Guruji is there. Guruji is in the class. I mean, this is, I'm telling, after 3 or 4 years when I have started actually understanding his, because initially I was not afraid in that sense of him at all. But like Gurdain Bhai said, he had this particular personality where he didn't speak much at all. He was all his all the aura he had, the aura,
Yeah.
it was amazing. And the moment you will enter that the classroom or where he is there in the presence, so immediately you will have to bow down, no matter what, no matter what age you are. You will understand that someone extremely special, some personality is here, no matter if you understand music or not. This aura
That
he has.
charisma he had, yes, yes. We have
So,
seen many times, like whenever we have seen him, even we not being the student, being
exactly.
present in his concerts, or he has come to some event. We also have felt the same thing.
Yeah,
That presence, yeah.
exactly.
And I
So,
think that charisma comes from the knowledge, the
of
power of
course,
knowledge.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So this was, and all those things also remain same, that take him to the OT and this event.
So how many times you have been brought to OT and
Innumerable.
And did you get chance to train some other junior people?
Yes, I later, of course, I
So
also was fortunate to perform the OT.
Great.
So yeah, 2-3 things I would like to mention here, that specialties about his teaching. Some methods he brought in tabla teaching, which is one would be the notation system. The notation system is like, so he had books where he wrote all the compositions, and when we like I told you that when he told that, okay, write the next two paltas, so we had these particular books, 3A, 1A, 7A, and they were dedicated to mostly like particular talas. So 3A was for Tintal, 1A was Jhaptal, 7A was Jhaptal, sometimes Rupak, like this. So 5A was Tukra Chakradar composition, like this. So he would say that take 3 and write next to composition. Now, when you will be writing the composition, say dhati dhaga na dhata dhati dhaga tina na dhati dhaga na dhata dhati dhaga dhina. Now, what he will do is dhati dhaga na dhata. So he mentioned it as A, this part, and dhati dhaga tuna as B. Now the next compositions will be A into 2. If you are playing the Dora, dhati dhaga na dhata dhati dhaga na dhata dhati dhaga na dhata dhati dhaga. So this will be A into 3 plus B, and these made the overall concept so easier. Immediately, anyone who is new to tablas, he could immediately, this I have understood much later. Me personally, I have understood much later while teaching other students, that this particular method helps a new comer to the bowl gets imprinted in his when he's playing in his visualizations. It gets imprinted that A into 3 plus B. It is much easier for him who is a very new student. Another his new aspects in the teaching was particularly naming each and every finger. So G1, G2, G3, Gab 1, G for Gab, B1, Baya 2 fingers, Baya 1 finger, B2, B1. Now, when you're taking the same composition, dhati dhaga na dhati dhati dhaga tina kena. So he will write dhati dha, he will write B2 above dha. Dhati dhaga, ga will be B1. So you can see immediately, it becomes like mathematics, like an algebra, and immediately you get to connect. There's no confusion, because he always told us that I am 20%, 80% is you. You have to be your own guru, and you should, because when I'm teaching you, I can correct you, or I can tell you these are the faults. But for the whole week, when you're practicing by yourself, you will have to know what you are practicing. And these points, I think these are revolutionary points in tabla, which every other guru bhai or guru dada of mine will admit this, that these things have revolutionized the art of teaching tabla.
Wow. And imparting the guru instinct within the student, I think it is the real task of a true guru, which which you have said. Gurdain bhai, if I can ask you, you already had music in your family and a background, but when musicians of that stature and that caliber, when they are conducting workshops or sessions with some uninitiated students, who are not very much familiar with Indian music and philosophy and culture, how he used to deal with those situations. That is something it is very interesting to know.
Yes, definitely. So one of the greatest things about Guruji was his ability to deal with all types of people. It wasn't just that he was a guru for senior advanced tabla players. It wasn't that he was only dealing with students of a certain caliber. I have such full memories of seeing him when I was staying in Calcutta for 1 year in and going to Kobe Road for lessons, and seeing him sit with youngest students who had just started, like 3-year-old boy, and he is giving that little boy so enthusiastic effort to start them on the instrument. And I think that was the authenticity of his personality. That, like I said, he was not somebody who was doing anything really for himself. He was gifting everything that he had learned and everything also that he had personally developed. Because in many cases he would say that I had many questions for Guruji, I had many questions for Pandit Prakash Ghoshji in my studies, and he was probably.
I think there is little signal problem, Surojato bhai. Are you also facing the same thing, or Kousik da?
Yeah, goodness,
Yeah.
our voice is not clearly
Yeah.
audible.
Voices is little breaking. Yeah. Yeah, it is almost stuck. So yeah, I think we can come back to Gurdain bhai once the connection is little stable. I think this is an inevitable part of the online sessions. We have to live with it. No other option. We will come back to you, Gurdain bhai, once the connection is little bit stable. In the meantime, let me ask Kousik da, as he was mentioning about some of the memorable concerts which he attended in his time when he was learning from him. Some and why those concerts were memorable. Maybe his solo performance, or any other concert where he accompanied any other great instrumentalist or vocalist, or even some concerts where you have accompanied him, as you were saying, Kousik da.
I mostly heard solos of Guruji and some duets with Pandit Shamal Ghosh. And actually, I'm not in a position to say anything about those concerts because I was just simply awestruck, you know, because to see him playing from front, it was more than enough. It was a teaching. Especially if I talk about the concerts with Pandit Shamal Bose, Pandit Shamal Bose was kind of quiet. He didn't used to talk much, but Guruji used to explain every ins and outs what they were going to play and what they were playing to make it easier for the audience to understand it easily. And although I was not present in the concert, but I heard this incident from Guruji. Someone told me that there was a concert with Ustad Bilal Khan Sahab, and Guruji was playing. So that guy told me that Pandit Shankar Ghosh that day was playing exactly what we expected inside us. That after Bilal Khan Sahab played something, and we all have some expectation, right? That we have some that we expect that okay, might be this thing is gonna coming. And exactly, Guruji was playing exactly the same thing, what we thought of. So audience was just crazy that day. So anyway, So I asked Guruji, I myself asked Guruji, that Guruji about that concert that everyone said that was a fabulous concert. So Guruji said, yes, it was one of the most favorite concert of mine as well. So Guruji told that incident that there was one part that Ustadji Bilal Khan sir played quite a longer part, and after that Guruji started his part. And so after playing quite long, and he took a big tihai. He started a big tihai, and that tihai also was fabulous. And after the first cycle, the the audience started getting mad about the ending. Then the second part also ended. Then Guruji said, then I thought if I end in this tone, the whole concert will be a mess because people will be appreciating him so much. The main thing, sitar, will be subdued at that point of time. So Guruji said, and the third part, I made it soft. I just mixed it with the sound. That was another beauty. But the thinking, we don't think it that way, right? We think, oh, okay, come there, so we will come on so many public will be clapping him, and that is the success of a tabla player. But Guruji thought in a different way. He talked, he came over a tabla player, he became a musician.
Musician, wow.
Right? So that was Pandit Shankar Ghosh. And Surojato, what he started about talking about the tal notation, and I think no one worked on Tihai also like Guruji did. No one, at least I didn't see much of the tabla players, at least of that age. He started Tihai, he made Tihai for his students so easy. He made a table like we used to say 2 2s are 4, 2 3s are 6, like that. Guruji made a table of making Tihais on every tal, not only in Teen tal. So he made us memorize these 16 counts. There was a big placard on his tal class, and we used to, Guruji said 1 2 start, means we had to start a tihai from this point and we had to come on some. Then 1 2 3 4, Guruji is counting. Whenever he used to say start, we had to start making we had to create a tihai instantly, and it should come on some.
Dada, actually the same thing I have heard from my father. My father being senior disciple of Pandit Indranil Bhattacharya, with whom Shankar Jetu played a lot. They played a lot of concerts together, and my father used to accompany Indranil Jetu during the tours. And one of such event in a Baganbadi, they were staying, and in that garden, Shankar Jetu asked Ram. He used to call my father lovingly as Ram, because all of our male members in our family have the Ram as the first name. Initial, like I'm Ram Prapan, my father Ramodar, like that. So Ram, you give tali and just you say start, I will start the tihai and I will come to the sum in any tali. And he demonstrated that, and still my father says that he gets astonished.
Yeah, that is, at first we used to have it fun actually.
Yeah.
And I remember that I used to live in Chandan Nagar, which is a 1 hour train journey from Howrah station to Chandan Nagar. And some few students who used to go to Guruji's house all the time in the compartment, we used to create tihai like that. And so people used to get so annoyed with that, what they're doing actually. That dhati dha, that was just alien language to them. But it just came in our vein, that how to make tihai, how to do compositions. And one very never faded memory in my life, Guruji made one composition in my notebook while he was sitting me 1 to 1. There was no other student in the class. He made a very special composition, and I think not many of the students even know that. We all know Dipalli, we know Tripalli. That is usually Gath, Chukra, Chakradar, like that. Guruji made a Qaida on my exercise book, on Dipalli Qaida. And that concept, even today, I talk to a lot of tabla players, a lot of gurus, they don't even have any idea how to do that. But Guruji did that in 30 years ago from today. And I don't know whether Surojato or Gurdain know that Kaida. I will tell it later. And so Guruji, and that is a amazing experience to me. That and Guruji is telling me to write down. He's composing and I'm writing down. That itself, it was a huge thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Honor it indeed. Yeah.
And once I accompanied Guruji when he was awarded the Hafiz Ali Khan Sahab, Ustad Hafiz Ali Khan Sahab award by Ustad Amjad Ali Khan Sahab given. So I accompanied Guruji from Delhi to Gwalior. We stayed together. And that time I already shifted to Delhi. I was, at least I was not that young. So, and Guruji was also so friendly, so friendly. We traveled from Delhi to Gwalior together. All the time, Guruji shared so much of experiences in his life, his concerts. That was fabulous. People said that he was very strict. But he was not. Inside, in his heart, he was quite a soft person.
Yeah.
And in that tour, in train, Guruji explained me about one composition he made in a. Oh, you were in Hyderabad, right? There is a clock museum in Hyderabad, right?
Yeah, that is Salarjung Museum.
And Guruji, yeah, maybe you don't know, or many of the students also don't know, Guruji made a composition inside that museum. Guruji visited the museum and he saw a special kind of clock. And usually the Norman clock strikes at 1, strikes at 2, strikes at 3. But that clock used to strike at 1.5, 2.5, 3:30, 4:30. That's a peculiar. And below that, those thorns, there was 12 windows. And when it is 1:30, one bird used to come out from one of the windows. He used to say a pick, and then he used to come. And next again at 2:30, the same bird used to come out from some other window. He used to make a pick sound. And the thing was, at what time, from which window the bird would come out, that was a surprise. It was not fixed. Suppose at 2:30 it's coming from the 4th window from left. It's not that in the next time also it will come again at 2:30 from the next 4th window. So with that idea, Guruji made a composition. I think the composition everyone knows. Dhagenatit, 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 dhagenatit. Yeah,
This is the clock. This is the clock. Yeah, I just searched. Yeah.
So I say the composition. I think Surojato at least knows it. Dhagenatit, 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 takenatit, takenatit, dhagenatit, dhagenatit, dhagenatit. That tit was the sound of the bird. And it just comes at any time. They cannot gaze it that this is going to come.
I think my father taught me this composition when I was young, but I never knew who created it.
I will ask you to play that. That is a fabulous one.
Yeah.
But we didn't know the story. Thank you, Kousik. Thank you so much for this. Yeah.
And one more thing, Guruji said that everyone, whoever plays fast like Porimal, usually we know that Porimal plays very fast, right? But Guruji said, if someone can play fast, it's not necessarily that he has to play fast all the compositions. Every composition has its own aestheticity, right? Like Bumba Soul, Bumba was saying that Guruji was playing somewhere, right? If we play, it doesn't make any sense. But with the modulation of Baya, that has a special impact. That exactly Guruji used to teach the students how to use the Baya modulation particularly. So these are another side of Guruji's teaching.
In one of the events, Suresh Talwalkarji was saying the same quality as Lay Dan, any composition in which lay it is being executed, and that brings the magic. That is
I was there. I was in that workshop.
Or even for the instrumental compositions or vocal compositions also, for each lay there are different compositions. We cannot stretch any composition to make it long and make it very fast.
I must tell one incident. I was playing in concert with Pandit Parthodasji. You must be knowing him, Parthodasji. and that concert was arranged by Pandit Arvind Parikh. So Partha, before the concert, he just said that, okay, today we will play with 7. Today we will play with 7. That was his words before the concert. And that was also, I'm talking about around 20 years ago. And it was not clear how can it be played with 7. But ultimately, when the concert started in Bilambit, he started with Dhamar. In Madhyalaya, he played Rupak. And in Drut, he
Ardasutal.
played
Deepchand.
Deepchand. That was also an eye-opening for me. That every tal also has its own rhythm, own tempo. So these are small learnings, Guruji, that like in 75th anniversary of Guruji,
Yeah, Kousik,
Madhuda.
yeah, we will again come back to you. If we can just ask Gurdain Bhai, because his connection was interrupted. He was
Yes, yes,
explaining how he used to connect instantly with different levels of students, different of different age, different background, learning background, even who are getting initiated with them, with the advanced students, with the intermediate students. Gurdain Bhai, if you could just finish that part, that would be great, because there was an interruption due to connection. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, sorry about my connection problem.
No worries. It is part of the online event, so we all are habituated with it, even our viewers. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one very special thing about Guruji, is that he didn't discriminate on grounds of aptitude. If somebody was very, very good, or if somebody was just a beginner, he gave all students equal attention from his side, because in any case, in his own learning, he used to often share stories with me that many times he had questions as a student, and he wasn't in a position where he could necessarily ask, but he used to ask his Guruji Pandit Gyan Prakash Ghoshji many questions, and in cases where there was in cases where there was not necessarily a detailed answer, he would often be encouraged to research. Oh, I don't know, maybe you can research about this and see. So I think Guruji was one of those prolific thinkers and pioneers who really didn't just teach what he had learned, but he grasped so much of his own through his own development. And in that process of his own research, I think that's one of the biggest things that made him such a great teacher for us as disciples. That whether we were coming in at the very basic level, for example, I remember one time at Kabir Road, watching him, the last student he had in the day was the youngest student. He had been teaching maybe for an hour, and as Surojato mentioned, you would wait. You would wait in the room until you have that chance to sit in front of that one broken tabla, the most broken tabla that is available. That is the one tabla you are playing on. No fancy tabla. The tabla you have been doing riyaz on is not the one you're going to play in front of Guruji. You will play this one, which has been played by everybody for weeks, months, years. And however you sound, you have to make everything sound good in that moment. And after all these students had been taking ta'lim and then going and leaving, there was this one boy, young boy. This must have been his first ever lesson. I think he must have been 3 years old. And this is the last lesson of the night. And Guruji's enthusiasm levels were right at the top with this young boy. So seeing this maestro of a human being coming down to the level of this young innocent boy, and making sure that he gets all the detail of everything he needs to learn to start his journey. That's one of the most beautiful things I had seen, and that's I think inspiring also when it comes to me teaching. So much inspiration is passed down through learning. So the way we learn, we also get inspired to teach. And a real pioneer in not only being enthusiastic with all different students and all different types, but not discriminating. You could be a senior student and you could make him extremely upset if you did not perform, if you did not play or do your riyaz or present a composition in front of him to the standard he expected. He could shut you down completely. And on the other side, you would have maybe a beginner student who has done good practice and good development, and they would be on the top of the list. There wasn't that discrimination, and that's one of the finest qualities, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. So I think you and Surojato both had some overlapping period. Maybe I don't know whether it is in UK or it is in India or in both. If you could just share some of the memories, because probably you are from last few batches, right? So whom he taught. So if you could just share some memories, some interesting incident, or anything you want to share. It can be conversation between you both, not necessarily answering my questions.
Sure.
Yeah, I think Gurdain came to India. It was 2005, I think, initially for 1 or 2 lessons, and then he went back.
2004.
Sorry,
2004. February 2004 I came.
Yeah. So I still remember in the class, and Guruji was like, listen to this boy playing. Yeah. So what he did is, if someone visited his class, so he used to showcase like his any disciple he likes his playing, or he thinks he's playing good. So he used to showcase. So play something. So this one day, he Gurdain and Uncle Ji, I mean Ustad Harkirat Singh Rayatt, his dad. So they were in the classroom. So I didn't know them. Of course, they were visiting, and Guruji invited them to see the class. So he asked me, play something, and this was like the worst possible thing that can happen to you, because you of course you think that you can play good, but in the moment he says that play, and he's expecting, and it makes you so nervous, and that you immediately have that pressure on your shoulders that I have to live to his play to his expectations. So it was a mixed emotion, and so he did like he asked me play something. So I remember playing Dhere Dhere or something, and he was like, kya baat. Now listen to this guy, then come here, play. And I think it was the same for him, and he was like, okay, he's he's planning to stay 1 year in India, and he will be staying at your house. So my parents, my mother, she's a classical vocalist. My dad is also a violinist, not professional, but they are the two pillars of my life, for whom I have pursued tabla, because they never told me that you have to become like a doctor or an engineer, though I studied science and everything. So but so they were the main pillars, and in our house, there we are fortunate to have a couple of rooms, extra rooms, and often like the foreign students visiting India or visiting Guruji, they stayed at our house. So it was like a tabla house. You can play tabla at any time. If you come to our house, you will be listening tabla at any time. Maybe 2 a.m. someone is practicing. At 6 a.m. someone is practicing. So it was
That's
tabla
amazing.
throughout the day and night. So Guruji told that Gurdain will be staying at your place, and so his dad came, and they made it sure that he stays here comfortably, because it was very new for Gurdain at the time, and to stay for 1 whole year in India. And then we had, I think, one of the most exciting part of our lives, because we were young, and all we had for one whole year was tabla, 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 throughout the day, throughout the night, uh, and we did practice, and we ate together, we went out and had fun, and it was amazing. And yeah, and then Guruji uh, composed the tabla trio, which was named tabla tridha, and then we got the chance to perform at the Taptak festival. And there was another Guru Bhai of mine, Kousik, the Kousik Kumwa. So he was also staying at our house. So Kousik was staying at ground floor. I was staying at the first floor, and Gurdain was on second floor. And 3 floors full of tabla. And and it was amazing. And so, and you cannot escape from his unique concepts, Guruji's unique concepts. Anywhere he is always present. So tabla trida had no sarangi, or no nagma, or no lahra in that sense. So our tabla was the lehra. So it was amazing. And Gurdain, you can also share if you think that.
Yeah, probably one of the most memorable times of my life, because for me it was such a huge change. I was 18 when I came to Kolkata. I turned 19 when I was there, um, and yeah, never living away from my parents, never living away from this country, and also first time taking talim from a completely new guru. I had always learnt, kind of a very informal way through my father, because my father was my father. It was a lot more sort of, oh, he's my dad kind of thing. And all those extra challenges of taking my development to such a high level through Guruji's teachings, and the entire experience of being somewhere completely unknown to me. But it was, such a joy to spend time in Surojato's place and practice together, especially the Trida trio, because this was something I believe Guruji's innovation was just everlasting. His idea to create something completely kind of out of the bounds of what is normal, or out of the bounds of what people expect. He had the courage and boldness to break those standard sort of practices. Oh, we're going to do performance, there'll be no nagma. One of the first things he said for this Trida trio was that it was defined by the fact there was no nagma. And the entire trio was composed in such a way by Guruji completely from scratch, to have all the major jatis of tabla playing. And in order for these different compositions to be presented, it was no longer a sequential performance. It wasn't a performance where the tempo of a tal is here, and then it goes here, and then here, and then here. It wasn't possible for the compositions he wished us to present. You couldn't have that linear progression of speed. And also the styles that he introduced for each jati was completely different language of tabla. There would be lagi ang in one section, there was kaida ang in another, there was rela, there was dhere dhere in another, there was so many. It was literally like an encyclopedia of tabla in one trio. Not only that, one of the highlights was this the importance of sur, having these extra daya at saga pa, etc. So many details. At the age of 70 years, Guruji crafted this trio completely from scratch, almost like ensemble. He would ask myself, Surojato and Kousik to come to Gobi Road, and then he would just start reciting. And we have the recordings, these amazing recordings of compositions that we'd have to play. Di kridanda datina dati dakarnagden dati dati datin. Or di kridanda datina dati dakarnagden dati dati datin ati kridanda datina dati dakarnagden dati dati di kridanda kridanda datina dati. All of this he would compose right there in person, and we would just have to record and play, and then every night sit as a three, and Guruji would call. Most often he would call Kousik and then hang up. He had this habit of say one thing and then cut the call straight away. Like, I will see you tonight, 6 p.m. Bring your tablas. Then the phone is cut.
So
Or he
whatever he
would-
had to, whatever
Yeah,
he had to say,
whatever
has
he had
said
to
and
say, he
done.
would just say then. He would call Surojato and say, Mishra Jati Tihai, two gap. Cut the call.
Cut a call.
Right then and there, we would have to learn, what is this Tihai? How is
Yeah.
this done? He will see it this evening. No more phone call. We go there, and sometimes we would not understand. We would go and we'd just try and we'd play the previous thing.
So he was
And
trying to ensure.
he would look at us while we're playing. While we're playing the old Tihai, he's looking like, what is this? And we're thinking, oh, I think we got away with it. He's like, no,
No.
play the one I gave you this morning.
So he wanted to ensure by
Yeah.
listening once you memorize that.
Yeah,
It was-
he would ensure everything is instant. Like, he calls, that's it. Your brain is on, switched
Yeah.
on. The number of times he would turn the AC off, and we would have to present this trio in front of all the other students. I still remember one time we were literally just dripping. We were dripping in sweat, and our tablas were there was just a pool of sweat all over. The shahi was being smudged. I think you broke a baya once. Your finger went through the baya. Yeah, these were very intense times. Every time we sat, Guruji would increase the speed on his hand, and we would literally privately we would be like, we can't do this, we can't play like this. This is so hard. It's not possible. But he pushed us to the limit.
Yeah,
And
it was very surprising because
amazing.
when we initially we thought that we weren't confident about us, but he knew what we can do.
Exactly.
So he pushed us like that. So we were like, no, we cannot play like in this tempo. This is impossible. But
It's
he was
crazy,
like, no, you can do it, and he pushed us in that way.
And the dere
Yeah,
was just mind-bending.
yeah.
How many different varieties of dere we had to play with no space, no rest.
We are glad that Sunil Kapu, Pandit Sunil Banerjee, and our own Porimalda, Pandit Porimal Chakraborty, both are watching this live and they have kindly sent comments for us. So thanks, Sunil Kapu and Porimalda, for watching us live. Thank you. Wonderful memories, isn't it? Kousikda, I think I interrupted that point which you wanted to share. I think in one of the birthday celebrations or something, you were saying Madhuda or someone was playing some composition. You wanted to share that experience.
Yeah, means I was just trying to talk about the modulation which Guruji used to tell or Guruji used to teach everyone. The composition I said that you cannot just play this composition in the very fast pace. But I felt this difference when I went in the green room I think it was in Kala Mandir. The 75th birthday celebration was held in Kala Mandir. The Madhuda was playing in green room, particularly this composition at a very fast pace. But I didn't feel the essence of that composition, which Guruji used to show us. So that was another part. What I wanted to mention in that event, Kumarda, means Pandit Kumar Ghosh, first mentioned that instead of Pandit Shankar Ghosh, Guruji should be called Acharya Shankar Ghosh. he just proposed it in mic that we all call it the Pandit, but there are lots of Pandits, Ustads are around, but he should be above them. We should call them Acharya to Pandit Shankar Ghosh. So that was the day he started, or we started, or we used to call Guruji Acharya Pandit, Acharya Shankar Ghosh. But nowadays, again, there are a lot of Acharyas also around. So that's another part.
Yeah. If you could just share your memories on, I know the Saraswati Puja celebration, the day-long recitals
Hare Baba.
in his house.
Yeah, that was if that we used to call, Guruji used to tell us to come there in the morning. We used to go there in the morning. We used to have bhog there also, and at the night there were concerts. But we had a group, as everyone. We had a group, and we used to roam around that night. Some concert at Guruji's house, then Pandit Shapan Chaudhary at his residence also. There was a fabulous concert. So like that, we used to roam at night on Saraswati Puja. And Saraswati Puja, we had fabulous concert like Arubda, Pandit Arup Chatterjee. He had a extremely wonderful solo in one of the concerts at Guruji's place. Like many had. So I didn't have that much memory about the concerts in Saraswati or on Saraswati Puja.
What about Surojato or Gurdain? Did you get chance to attend any Saraswati Puja at his place?
Yes, yeah. In the 2006 Saraswati Puja, I was there along with Surojato, and I believe we performed the trio at directly there as well. And then I returned back to Calcutta 2012 and 2013, kind of end December to Jan, like crossing over the year 12, 13, 13, 14, and I think on one of the occasions I was asked to play at Saraswati Puja, so I played. Guruji had told me I want you to play this time, and I arrived in the morning, as usual, and he said, "You will play now," and I said, I was surprised because he didn't. I was expecting to play in the evening. He had told me, but he just suddenly said, "We'll play something now." And I said, well, I don't have my my tabla. So then obviously there was a tabla put, and I played a solo in the morning. And then later in the evening, he said he would play again in the evening. So I played Tintal in the morning and Japtal in the evening. Two kind of short solos. And the memory of Saraswati Puja was always this it's a very humbling experience. You're playing directly in front of your guru, in the presence of all your guru bhais. That feeling is really like you feel like the smallest person and the biggest person at the same time.
Exactly.
It's such a
very well said.
Such a special moment to play there. And I think if you see all of the videos that exist on YouTube of people performing at Shenhati, for example, at the Saraswati Puja, the direction of people's eyes that's always something I remember. Anybody who is performing, the eyes are looking in one direction, and every now and then everybody watching is turning their head because they know, okay, that's where Guruji is. He's sitting there on the chair. Everybody's eyes are there because he's in command. What the expressions are. When you should stop, when you should start, when you should say the Tihai, when you should speak, when you should announce the composition. Right then and there is your test.
And as you all said, he didn't have to say anything. All his body language was enough. His gestures were enough.
Yeah. And when he wanted you to, he would listen, and if there's no expression, something is interesting. There's something interesting there if there's no expression. And then hand goes up and okay, my part is done.
Surojato, anything you want to add?
Yeah, it's. I think it's almost same for all of us because, like I told you, and his presence, it's amazing. Some points, some memories, actually, a couple of memories. So, like just you mentioned Parimal Kaku and uh, Shunil Kaku. So when we were kid, they were like our heroes, and they are our heroes, right? So listening to them and the amazing style of playing, we remained awestruck. So when I was a kid, I didn't practice much at all. I was more into soccer playing, football
So,
playing.
so you were taken to OT very frequently, I think. Right?
Yeah, yeah. So so I was more focused towards tabla, towards soccer and football, and my mom was very worried because uh, she was very angry because I didn't practice at home, but every day at class, Guruji was praising me. So it was a very confusing state for her because eh, if Guruji scolded me, that would have made it easier for her. But he was praising me, but I wasn't practicing at home. So one day, now Guruji actually was an ardent supporter of the Mohun Bagan Club, the National Club of India. I was fortunate. I got selected there for the under 16 team, but couldn't continue because of course, for tabla. So one day, my mom complained to Guruji that he is not practicing at all, and so Guruji, Guruji had a very, like you told, like he was like coconut, and inside it was very soft. So he was like, okay, he's not practicing and he's winning competitions, getting concerts. What need of practice? Uh, and and directly to me, which position do you play? I said, Guruji, I play in the defense. Defense. Okay, very good. Keep playing. And my mom was totally shocked because she thought that he will scold me or tell me on something. But I did get the scolding after a couple of years. Then he was like, okay, now it is time for you to become serious and you decide what you will do because I'm expecting that you have started playing nationally and internationally. So I'm expecting. So this is one very close memory of mine. Another one, he came to our house once. So as we all know, Guruji was a great cook, and that is very well known. Now, one day I remember he suddenly, like Gurdain Bhai told, that all he had to do is what was in his mind. He called, he told it, and he cut the phone. So suddenly one day like this, around in the afternoon, my mom got a call that, listen, I will be visiting your house tomorrow, so prepare রুই মাছ, rohu fish, রুই মাছের ফুলকপি. It was winter time, so কড়াইশুঁটি, আলু, ফুলকপি, potato, cauliflower, and peas. So there's a special preparation and রুই মাছের ঝোল. So prepared for me. We are going 7 people. আমার বাইরের থেকে some foreigners is also coming. So I want to eat this dish from your hand. So, and the phone, anything like no timing, what time he's reaching, what anything extra or whatever, no option to ask. So my mom went berserk. She was like, my goodness, Guruji is coming to our house. And like what gurus, they stay, what place they have in our heart. And so she went totally mad. The whole house got cleaned and like Gurdain told. So
Same thing like Gurdain Bhai.
yeah, same thing. Yeah. So I couldn't recognize my own house suddenly. Yeah. And in the morning she went and Guruji wanted for rohu fish, but she brought prawns, the big tiger prawns, hilsa, mutton, and I think he wanted to have rice and rohu, but she made paratha and a few other dishes, and went to the best market, best fish, as you know, like as you can imagine. And that particular dinner, Guruji mentioned it for, he continued to mention it for so many years, because every time after that dinner, he was like, তোর মা যা রান্না করে, your mom, she's such a great cook. And anyone coming in the class, suddenly after if I start finish playing, he plays good, but his mom, she's such a great cook.
All credit shifts from your playing to your mother's cooking.
Exactly. So so this is one very fond memory of mine. Another one, which actually happened in the UK, in Chakardar Summer School. So I was fortunate that Guruji asked me, and Harkiraji asked me to be there as a faculty. So in 2014, like Gurdain told, there's after in the summer school, there's a concert happening in the finale day of the summer school, and we plan to play a duet actually on that particular day. And the first part was, I think, a duet, and second part, I was to accompany Jai Gandhi, the flautist from New York. So I think the day before, I got a major, I will not say, I kind of a hair crack in my right thumb. I fell down, I stumbled, and the night before, I this the whole thumb, it's swole like anything, and I couldn't move it, and immediately, like, everyone got so worried. Of course, I couldn't tell Guruji. I told him much later, but Harkiraji took me to a doctor, and we had some. I was given some treatment initially, and it was paining like crazy. So I told Gurdain that, see, brother, I cannot tell Guruji that I will not be playing, but I have to find some way, because it is paining so much. So we decided to drop the duet, and because like playing a tabla solo requires much more physical
Strength, yeah.
than accompanying. Like in accompanying, I can get some rest in when Jai Bhai is playing.
Yeah.
So we decided that Gurdain will play the solo, and I will accompany Jai Bhai. So it was paining like crazy. I still have the picture actually with the big.
You had the thing there, no?
Yeah. So I don't know, by Guruji's grace and his blessings, when I was doing the sound check, it was in the baya, actually, in the left hand, not on the right one, left hand. I couldn't play it. It was paining so much. I had no idea. And Gurdain played an amazing solo in the first half, and the whole concert hall was full, and everyone came because the flyers were announced and the concert was announced accordingly. So it was a packed hall and packed auditorium, and I sitting with this thing on my thumb, and it was paining like anything. So I couldn't do the proper sound check. I had no idea of how will I play, what will I play, and anything. But believe me, Ramda, I have no idea. Jai Bhai played Jhaptal, and the concert was one of the best, one of my best actually. And I don't know. And Guruji was sitting there. His presence itself was like such a big boost. And why I told you all this, because the reward I got after the concert. So Guruji asked me what happened. years. So Guruji, I couldn't talk much in front of him, and
একটু
none of
বাংলা
us.
একটু বাংলায় বলো, তাহলে ইমোশনটা বোঝা যাবে এক্স্যাক্টলি কি ডায়লগ হয়েছিল।
আচ্ছা,
ইংরেজিতে ওই
আচ্ছা।
ওই ওই ব্যাপারটা আসবে না, ওই
হ্যাঁ।
বাংলা কনভারসেশনটা একটু বলো বাংলাতে, কোনো অসুবিধা নেই।
So he said like, তুই এটা করলিটা কি? হ্যাঁ। So I was like, good. And we couldn't talk much in front of him. I was like, Guruji, কি হয়েছে এটা? So he made a joke which I cannot tell publicly. So
Imagine.
so I was like, and he was immediately, and this was an amazing part of Guruji. Like he made a joke and immediately he became serious, like in the next moment. And he was like, you have played amazing. This is what I expect from you. So today's dinner is from me. So I will treat you today's dinner because you have played this concert and like this, and this is your reward. So we will go to a Pakistani restaurant and we will order some kebabs and everything. So today's dinner is a treat from my side for you. And this, you can imagine, if your Guruji
the
is
world.
telling
Yeah.
this, it's one of the best memories of mine.
I think hours and hours will be short
Exactly.
to talk about this kind of great person. And we can have episodes if you want, successive episodes we can have based on your convenience and time. Before concluding, Kousik, I will ask this to everyone, how you felt about this initiative, ICMC, and how you felt about today's event. If you could just say a few words before we conclude the session with some immortal recordings of Panditji. Yeah.
First of all, thanks to ICMC for organizing this memorable event. Shunilda was saying that he and Parimal and everyone is a part of the previous years, and really thanks to you for bringing us here. And also, Surojato is my Guru Bhai, Gurdain is my Guru Bhai, but through ICMC, I got to meet them for the first time, incidentally. So that was really great. Nice to meet you guys. You all are fabulous.
That
And
is
Ram,
that is the achievement for ICMC when Surojato and Gurdain met after so many years. The kind of the first smile they had before coming to this live. That was the reward for ICMC. And I must say, last time we had Guruma, Vidushi Sangeeta Ghoshji, who is eventually my wife's guru. My wife Pramod learned vocal music from her. And then Sunil Kapu we had, Pandit Sunil Banerjee, and Porimalda we had, Pandit Porimal Chakraborty, and also we had Subroto Bhattacharya. Subroto we had last time.
yeah, Shubhrata also was there. Yeah.
In fact, Arubda also was supposed to be there, but he was having some tour that time. That's why he could not be there. Yeah. And MED was integral part. Even she is integral part for this episode also. Only thing she is not on screen.
We missed her.
Yeah.
And
So,
I think it was her birthday, I think 1 or 2 days back, right?
yes.
Yeah. So anyway,
Right.
belated happy birthday to her also. Please convey it to her.
Sure. Surojato bhai, if you could say a few words about this initiative and how you felt about this event.
Sure. Personally, the first thing I would say, actually, you know what I'm going through right now. So after Guruji's demise in 2016, I was fortunate that I got accepted by Pandit Shankar Banerjee, and as we all know, unfortunately, we lost him for COVID. And for since his demise on 25th of August, it has been extremely difficult. Each and every day is, I will not be able to express how each and every day is passing for me.
Yep.
So this evening, it was a breath of fresh air, actually, for me personally. So I would really thank you, Emily D, and the whole team of ICMC for this, because I am going through a very difficult phase right now. So
Within a
that is
span
all.
of few years, what kind you faced immeasurable loss.
Yeah.
Within a span of few years.
Yeah. And this is all I have to say. I mean that thank you for this. Thank you for this effort.
All pleasure is ours, Surojato. Gurdain bhai.
Yes, just echo what everybody else has said. Thank you so much. Living over here, it's I don't get to be in that presence all the time of Guru Bhais, and I'm sure with Surojato and with some other Guru Bhais, we've shared memories and we've shared experiences of Talim, etc. I've often shared my experiences with my own students so that they feel inspired when they're learning. But it's a very rare thing to be able to speak to like-minded and senior musicians and senior Guru Bhais and friends about Guruji and his the mark that he left on all of us in different ways in different eras of his life. So thank you so much for thinking of me, even though I'm all the way here, and inviting me. And thank you. Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome, and all pleasures is at ICMC actually. So we will conclude the session just like our previous episode in last year. The unforgettable recording of Pandit Ji with Ustad Vilayat Khan Sahab, the Darbari LP. So we have just selected the pieces where Pandit Ji has played solo along with Khan Sahab's Gat and also in Jhala. We will conclude the session, and I think that is the best way to conclude the session.
That's a milestone.
Yeah, milestone recording. Yeah. I think we should not say any word after this music. So again, thanks to you all for joining, and thanks to all our viewers for being with us for more than last 1.5 hours. I think 2 hours. We are just touching 2 hours.
And again, pranam to Guruji.
Pranam to him. Yes.
This tabla will not play anymore. This tabla.
Thank you. Thank you. Pranam.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.